So, I moved last week, or a couple weeks ago now, and I found my box of original art, and I found actually the story before the story. I saw the original version of See You in Hell, and it was a mini comic project called Good Gamjakoth. And this is the original artwork for it. This was a fun little project to do. Essentially what happened at CCS, there's a project called the Mini Comic Project that kind of is the end, the final project of your first year at the Center for Cartoon Studies. And I had a story, it wasn't working, and I had to pivot quickly to something different. And kind of in my desperation, I used a storytelling technique that was taught to us, is basically take a existing story or an existing plot and change character settings, but you have a plot to kind of hang your hat on. And for whatever reason, it struck me as funny to have a take on the movie Bad Lieutenant. And so I decided to try out this idea of a good demon struggling with what it means to be a demon. And I decided to do it as like Sunday strips, essentially. So I kind of created a little nameplate for him and then just drew from there. And I did this all over a weekend. So I left that blank for when I scanned it in, I could keep it going. I could just add the nameplate that I already designed on the first strip. This page I do like quite a bit, especially this one. I thought that was a good one. There's different characters, but essentially it's the same plot. There's mysterious churches popping up all over hell. Belial is kind of my guy that I've replaced with Beelzebub in See You in Hell. And each page is kind of its own story beat. That's a pretty good one. I like that bottom panel. I don't want to give away the ending. That's another fun panel there. But this ended up being really popular. I did the mini comic, and then that weekend after our review was MoCA in New York City. So I took the train from the Vermonter from White River Junction down to New York City to attend MoCA. I wasn't displaying. I've had tables at enough cons, so just like it. I never think it's great. I never think it's a good experience. What I did was I printed a bunch of these off, and then I handed them out to people at cons. And I had a few people interested in me, publishers in me, developing this further into a longer story. So this was a good testing ground to see if this actually worked. Without investing a lot of time, and it was super fun to do. I had a blast. I mean, this is all pen and ink and brush. The brush was actually a gift from Annie Koyama, the patron saint of independent comics, and it was just a fun experience for that. And then when it came time to adapt it, I didn't want it to be... This follows the beats of Bad Lieutenant pretty close. And I didn't want, like, it just didn't work once I started thinking about it. Like, so I changed some things. So Good Gamjakoth, no one could pronounce it, the name. So I changed it to See You in Hell, a little bit catchier. There's multiple stories going on between two souls that have escaped. The titular Gamjakoth from this, he's the main character. Beelzebub and Lucifer. And so they all have their own kind of complete unique arc in See You in Hell. It was a fun exercise to try to change some of this up and come back to it years later and like kind of give it its due. But this version of it was really fun to make, and it was one of the... there's a handful of times where I can say like I made a whole comic in a weekend, and this was one of them, and it was so much fun. And I don't want to do that all the time, but for that weekend, it was a spring weekend, beginning of May, warm weather. I had, windows open, baseball on the radio. I had so much fun making this mini comic. And it's fun to look at this original art. This is good stuff. One of the things that stayed from this older version of the story to See You in Hell is the Gamjakoth being obsessed with singing and hymns. And so he's constantly cornering humans, making them sing to him. And he kind of sings to himself quite a bit. He hums This Little Light of Mine and a few other hymns. In this version, the mini comic version of it, it's a little bit more like sweaty desperation, addiction. In the new version of the story, See You in Hell, it's more recognizing or realizing something that was hidden deep inside of him. A faith or something missing, a warmth and a faith that he didn't know that he had, or he suspected that he had because he knew he's different from the other demons, but he didn't really know why. So the See You in Hell is darker and sweeter, if that makes sense. It's less surface level kind of adaptation of the original movie, Bad Lieutenant. I think it works really well. I'm also talking about the original Bad Lieutenant by Abel Ferrara, with naked Harvey Keitel doing all the drugs, all of your drugs, all of my drugs, all of his drugs. Not the Nicolas Cage remake Bad Lieutenant set in New Orleans. So that it's just one of the changes I made that just made it a little bit, I don't know, more poignant, more about self-discovery versus addiction, desperation, but still finding faith. And this is more just like believing in who you are and being proud of who you are. So I really like my adaptation of my adaptation, if that makes sense. But this has been fun to go back through these pages and review them again, and I just had so much fun making them over a weekend. Anyway, I just wanted to document this again before I put it away, and as I'm wrapping up this larger graphic novel version of the story, it's going to be about 250 pages versus this original 16 pages. So fun to revisit, and I'm going to be done with the second version of this relatively soon, probably by June. So fun to revisit. I did some things really well, and there's a lot that I would change, and I have. So there you go.